I love it so much. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Cruel Prince Read-Along live discussion show. I was like, what's it called? Oh my god. So yeah, if you're here and you're ready to discuss The Cruel Prince, my name is Christine. I am from the Roomies Digest, and take it away.
Hi, I'm Nicolee from Bonbon Reads, and I'm excited to be talking about this book with you guys.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so obviously we're going to be talking about The Cruel Prince and The Lost Sisters. So if you can't tell by the nice little spoiler thing down below, guys, we're going to be talking spoilers. So if for some reason you haven't read these books and you don't want to be spoiled, please leave the discussion now.
Bye.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. See you later. So, yeah, I mean, let's go ahead and get right into it. So, what did you rate The Cruel Prince?
Okay, I rated this book 5 stars. I will say I'm not the harshest creator. Like, I've started to try to be more harsh, but I really liked this book overall. I felt like I couldn't put it down, and I was really in the world. And like, actually, this past month, I've been feeling like I'm in a reading rut, and I read, like, 2 or 3 books that were, highly recommended on BookTube, and I just wasn't connecting with it, and I felt like there was something wrong with me, and so it was really nice to be able to pick up this book and just fly through it.
Yeah, I was like, our buddy read happened really, really quickly.
Yeah.
We sped through it. So, but yeah, I feel like a lot of people have actually been in a big reading slump in April. Are we in
Yeah.
April? I was like, what month is it?
Yeah.
So you're not the only one. I know Monique also has as well. So
It's one of those months.
yeah, it's just one of those months. You start off strong and then you're like, okay, I need a little bit of a break. But yeah, so I ended up giving, I think I'm giving The Cruel Prince a 4.5. We'll know at the end of April. I think it's a 4.5. When I first came off of it, I was like, 5 stars, baby. That was so good. Oh my gosh. And it's exactly as you said, like when you start reading and you get hooked into it, it's like, oh my God, this is so good, so you can't put it down. So that's how I felt at the end. But then when I first started, I was like, wait, maybe the world building isn't as good as I would want it to be. Just things I was thinking about in reflection. So I think it's a 4.5 for me.
That's still a great rating.
But it's
Yeah.
still really good. Yeah, it's still really good. Like, love it. I'm going to continue. It's going to be great. So, if you guys are here in the chat, what did you guys rate The Cruel Prince? I would love to know. I know Sahar said that she had some hot takes. So, let us know. Speaking of my girl, hello, how are you? Catherine, hello.
Hi.
I didn't finish my reread, but I'm here. But you have read it once, so share your thoughts. I've been in such a big reading slump too. Yeah, April is and with like the rain, I feel like it's been really rainy here, and that never happens in California. So I'm just kind of like, ooh. But it is what it is. Hey, Nitty. The Cruel Prince is definitely a 5-star book. Yes. Hey, Mare, how's it going? A 5-star book on Goodreads? I think I did put it as 5 stars on Goodreads, but I do all my stuff at the end of the month, so we'll see how it goes. Mare said 2 stars. Brooke said 2.5. Nitty said 1.5. Oh. Okay. Laugh my ass off. I rated it a 3. Okay. I wish Goodreads did half stars because for me it was between a 3.5 and a 4. Yes.
I wish that too.
I liked it, but it was a 3. Yeah, honestly, Goodreads, if they had half stars, it'd be superior, but everybody's into freaking, what is it, Storygraph, and there was one that Readly that just came out. Readly?
Yeah, I've been hearing so many people talk about it, and it just seems like a place to be. Yeah.
It's like interesting. I just downloaded it yesterday. Yeah, something like that. And it literally is like visually so aesthetically pleasing. Like it just looks so cool. But I'm like, is it, practical for me to write like 5 things about one book? I'm not sure, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah. Hi, I gave The Cruel Prince 4.5 stars. It was really fun. I really liked Jude. Yes.
True.
I'm
Yes.
obsessed with Jude too. I love her. Exactly what is readerly the earth sign and me cannot deal with this change. So it's like Monique just told me about it, but basically it's like you can suggest books based off of how they look, and then you can write like a little blurb about them. So for example, if we were going to do The Cruel Prince, it would be like a picture of the Cruel Prince and then like your little blurb about it, and then you can like swipe over and put like, this also reminds me of this book, so if you liked this book you can read these books, and it's based off of things that you recommend, so like on your profile or your page or whatever. I haven't gotten too deep into it, but it seems really cute, and that's all I've got to say about that. Hey, how's it going? 5 stars. I love that. My homie, how's it going? Yes, Catherine Jude is a Capricorn, I call it.
I see it.
Yeah, I was like, she's really focused on her work, and her work ethic is unmatched. So I was like, you're Capricorn to me. Hey, everyone, I gave it a 4.5 stars. It was so addicting. Yeah, it was. It was definitely addicting. Oh, hey, Jayla, how's it going? Just here to say hi. Hello, I really liked it, but sometimes I wanted to punch Jude. LOL, 4 stars. Yes, yes.
I feel that. Yeah.
I agree with that. We're gonna get into it. Okay, we're gonna get into it. To be fair, Jude's amazing. Had some issues with the plot. Yes, yes. This is the 4.5. This is the 0.5. You guys are really zeroing in on it. I'm like, there were some things I was like, but enjoyment level, it would have been a 5 star for me. I'm the unpopular opinion and didn't really love the first one, but my favorite is the second.
That's
it's actually
exciting.
not that unpopular, because a lot of people gave it low star ratings.
It's a hit or miss, yeah.
Yes. LMAO. I liked how everyone in the book was not portrayed as good or bad. Okay, so this is something really interesting. We can get into this later, but not to be like, let's talk about fairy lore, but when you get into like fairies and like goblins and things like that, based on like old tales and things from like over the sea, right? It's always depicting these like fairies as not necessarily like mean, but sometimes they can be like, they can be cruel, and they kind of are just serving their best interests, like, do they want to take over the world? Not necessarily, but are they necessarily good or bad? So I think this is a really interesting comic, because I've always thought that in my years of reading about fairies. Also really thought Carden was so intricate and intriguing. I kind of didn't care and like him in the beginning, but ended up being interested. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Something's wrong with me because Carden is my man's. I'm like, this little creepy boy with a tail. How's it going?
I feel like he's just gonna continue to grow on us, like, as like it progresses.
Honestly, I'm such a simp for like these characters that say one good line. Like, if you have just one good line and you're like, giving me cute eyes, I'm like, yes, shall we to the chapel? Okay, let's go. So, yes, Morley Gray. I love Morley Gray characters because you never know what they're gonna do. You never know what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
The world building was kind of lacking. Jude was annoying. The romance was my least favorite I've ever read. Oops. And it just felt like I was waiting for there to be a plot for the entire book. Okay. So let's get into the plot. Because Sahar brings up some really good things here. So what did you think initially, or like as we went through the plot? What were your thoughts?
I really went into it not knowing anything or having really any expectations other than the fact that I knew that everyone was simping for Prince Carden on Book Talk. And so I was very pleasantly surprised with the first chapter, like how it started in a modern like society with, the pool and like chips, and then like shit escalated so fast, and I was like, oh my gosh. And for me personally, I didn't have any problems with the world building. I liked the imagery that was conjured when I was reading it, and I did have a pretty good depiction of what things looked like. I also really liked how they incorporated like fairy lore from like fairy tales and books, because it made me like, like,
yes, like if you're a fairy lore reader, and like I definitely consider myself one because I've been reading about this since I was a kid. I'm like, oh my God, how did you know about the salt trick? And like all these like little tiny details that I'm like, Holly Black really did that. You know what I mean? Really put in all those like little details. But I do understand that for someone who reads a lot of fantasy, and I know Sahar does, I can see how this would be a letdown as far as the world building, because granted there are these like little trickling of like what's happening and what everything kind of looks like, but like sometimes like especially in a story like this, you just really want like that rich kind of like description because it's so magical and different than the human world that like you want to be able to be, you know what I mean, like really really in it. But that's not to say like I agree with you. I mean, I definitely did. I could see what it looked like, but I can also see how some people would be like, it wasn't enough. We need more.
No,
Oh, no, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Oh, I was literally going to talk about the Maddock coming in and slaying the whole family. Like, if that's not the entirety of what a fairy is, you know what I mean? Like, they're just like, okay, look, I didn't necessarily want to kill them, but like a deal's a deal, you know, like it's what I'm owed, da 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 da. Like I'm gonna get what's mine. I thought that was literally perfect. It's tragic, but I loved it. Anyway, what were you gonna say?
And we'll have to talk about Maddox like later on. Like
yeah, like the magic system.
And like about him as like a father and his role and that whole thing. But
yeah, it was so interesting. I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
What? But anyway, okay, let's get on a little bit of these comments. So agreed on the world building. I wasn't invested in it. Yes, LOL, same. I went from reading X. Yeah. Silver Flames.
So I will say like one thing is that I was very I don't know what I was expecting. I knew that it was going to be more PG, but I guess I didn't picture it to be lacking in romance. Like I thought it was going to be this like steamy, like enemies to lovers type romance, and we got very, very little action. So I mean, I'm hoping for more in the second book, but I was really, really. I think we both were really into the political intrigue. I think that's what really hooked us throughout the book.
Yes. And just that and just kind of like being in the magical realm. It really reminds me of this one book called The Hollow Kingdom by Claire B. Dunkel. And it sounds really crazy and like kooky, but it's basically about like a goblin like kingdom and like, you know, that kind of thing. And I think a lot of the reason why I liked The Cruel Prince is because it reminded me so much of that book that I read from when I was younger. So yeah, I'm like, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I don't know where I was going with that, but you get what I'm saying.
We love it. We love it.
Yeah, I'm like, but yes, why do we love evil characters? Honestly, I ask myself that in therapy every time I go, you know? I don't want to talk about how much I like Carden's tail.
I'm going to remember that.
I was shocked. I was kind of like, oh, okay. All right. Carden's got a tail. What's up? I think the way the plot went was cool, but the pacing was a little wonky for me. Also, the romance was in a whim, and I don't know how I felt about it. Yeah. So I think the romance actually reminded me a lot of Shadow and Bone and like Six of Crows, that kind of thing, where like you get these little snippets of it, but it's not like a full-on like ACOTAR where you've got like these major sex scenes and like all this, you know, other stuff kind of interwoven into the plot. So I don't know. I don't mind books like that, but definitely if you know, you go in and your expectations are at a certain level for the steam and then it's not there, that's going to be a letdown.
Yeah.
Mary said, what world building? The map in the beginning, basically. I'm obsessed with this tale. It's funny how some fan artists try to ignore it. It deserves love. It is cute, okay? It's like a little black lion's tail, like the little tuft at the top. I like it. Agreeing with Mary, lol. Yes, facts. Feel like this series is just not very memorable. I'm gonna have to get through it because I really liked it, but I also really like fantasy, so
same.
Listen to the audiobook and it made my experience better and it was really good. Interesting, because I read the Lost Sisters, which is the novella that's a companion to The Cruel Prince, on audio, and it made me really hate the sister. It made me really hate Taryn, whatever her name is.
Taryn?
Yeah, she was annoying. I was like, okay, you can die and I'd be okay. But anyway, I like the world building. I found it engrossing. It's so interesting how some people are like, it wasn't enough, and some people are like, where was it? And then other
I
people
think,
love it.
like, personally, like, I don't expect it to be, like, the same as, like, an adult high fantasy. Like, I know that things are gonna be a little bit more, I don't wanna say simple, but, like, a little bit more simple in
Right.
that way so that younger readers are able to, like, stay engaged throughout.
Yeah, and digest.
And so I don't go into it, like, thinking it's going to be, like, Mistborn or something like that,
Mhm,
which is why I think I really enjoyed Shadow and Bone, because I know that there's some, like, flaws and stuff in the series, but I enjoyed it for what it was, and I
mhm.
think that's how it was for The Cruel Prince.
Yeah. Definitely, that's, like, exactly what I was saying. I was like, it's basically like it reminds me of Shadow and Bone, the world building, because even with Shadow and Bone, because you have that first person perspective from Alina, you only see her perspective, so it's like everything else you kinda see from Shadow and Bone is a very bird's eye view, which
Yeah.
is different than Six of Crows because 'cause you've got everybody's different perspectives, so you can
Mm,
kinda go a little bit deeper.
right.
But yeah, that's the what the world building reminds me of. I mean, I feel like because it is still technically based in our world, I didn't find it that hard to visualize. I liked it when they went to the mall. I was like,
I
"That's
loved that.
cool." Yeah, like, what do we think about her, the older sister, having a human girlfriend?
I really liked it, like, they seemed like, I liked that, like, I don't think it was explored very much at
Mhm.
all, but from what I saw, I liked it. I mean, I think that she grew up, like, through her, like, more formative years, like, as like a human, and so, I mean, I think, like, everyone else was kinda young when,
Yeah.
like, the parents were killed, but she already had all these formative memories with her, like, parents, and, like, I just can't even imagine what it would be like to be older and, like, witness that, because it's like a PTSD induced by, like, your father. And
Yeah.
so I think that it was completely, like, valid how she kind of rebelled against what she was expected from her dad.
Like, literally, for the rest of her life, she was like, "I'm not even gonna be in the fairy realm, like, I am gonna marry someone who is a human, like, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna live here." And I think that that's so hard-headed, but also I really respect that because if I was in the same situation, like, honestly, I probably would have tried to kill Maddox by now,
Yeah.
seriously. So, but, respect for her. Um, yeah, there was so much chaos. I was like,
Yeah.
"Wait, what's happening?"
Yeah.
I liked how little romance there was. Yeah, it makes it easier to focus on other things when you're not. But like I said, if you have that expectation, then that's a letdown for sure. I agree with y'all. I read this for the politics. There were lots of politics. I really liked it. I really
Yeah,
liked it.
me too.
I feel like Maddox is either lawfully neutral or lawfully evil.
Yeah.
He's such an interesting character, and like since Catherine brought him up, like let's go ahead and talk about him. Like Maddox,
Okay.
okay. So he goes in and he kills the family, takes but decides to take the two girls, right? That aren't his kids. And that to me shows that he at least has a sense of um honor in some
Yeah,
ways,
I
which is
agree.
interesting because he's like a general in the army for the fairies, right? So I think it's so interesting that he kind of like plays this father figure for them. And then by the end of the book, you figure out like he is no different than just like a killing machine. Like, you know what I mean? Like he
Yeah.
just wants like that power. And it's so interesting to me that how he can be both of those things in this book.
I feel very conflicted, and I don't know if I'm the only one who thinks that, but I don't I do dislike him, but I just I don't know, I feel really conflicted and, like, not so personal, but no, never mind. But anyways, I was gonna go there and I was like, "Nah, no, we're not gonna." But, I just I really respected how he didn't, like, charm them into liking him in the beginning. I think that shows that he has, like, morals, basic decency,
Mhm.
and I know that he did love his daughters to a certain extent. Like, I mean, like, I think he's capable of love, but I think in the end, his bloodthirst overruled
Took
everything,
over. Mhm.
and I think it's interesting because I don't know how to measure, like, a fairy's, like, morality,
Mhm.
because you know, like the whole Locke situation, he told Maddox, and he said that, you know, fairies don't love like humans. So it makes me wonder if like fairies feel like humans or if they have a more complex way of processing emotions.
I love that you just brought that up because I was reading the back of The Wicked King, which is the next book we're going to be reading, and in the top little blurb, it like basically quotes that, and it says that, like, you know, fairies don't love like humans do. And I'm like, does that mean that we're going to get more of that in the next book? I don't want to put my expectations up here, but they're kind of already up here. So yeah, Maddox, I don't know. He just yeah. If you don't know fairies, you know, you can get sucked into it and think that he's gonna be good all the time, but he's definitely morally gray. A little bit bad, a little
Yeah.
bit evil.
Yeah.
But yeah. The whole transition from enemies to lovers bothered me because it felt like elementary school where the boy's mean because he's into you, and it felt very immature and underdeveloped. Yeah, because I almost was like, is he being mean to her because he likes her, or is he just being mean to her? You know, like.
So, I mean, from the like by the end, like the reason why Carden was so mean to Jude, right? Like at least like half of the reason initially was because he thought that like Taryn stole like Locke, who stole what's her name?
Narcissia. Oh my god,
No,
Nicatia. I think.
We're just
I'm
gonna go with
sorry.
that.
I'm sorry. But
But
yeah, it's like because it was like a power play, so it wasn't even really like, because I mean, obviously he doesn't like humans, allegedly, but you know, I don't even know if it. I don't even know. Who knows? Prince Carden, wild card. I agree. The world building was meh. Agree it was tired of the romance, so I love the lack of it in this book. Politics was my favorite part. That's like, honestly, that was the underlying backbone of this whole book. Too many people are trying to sell it to people as a romance, and it's not. The romance is a side plot. Like, it's there, but it's not what the book is about. Yes, going back to the Shadow and Bone, like, you know what I mean? The romances are a side part. Those longing glares and glances, whatever. Love the politics too. So much more interesting than the romance. Yes.
it
I
caught me
like those
so off
time.
guard. Like so off guard. Like towards the end, I remember I was texting Christine. I was like, "What is going on?"
Wait, the
It
romance
reminds
or
me
politics?
the politics.
Oh, okay, I was like, yeah.
It literally reminded me of a Game of Thrones episode, I think like season 2 or 3, where like everyone dies, and I was just like,
Yeah, you're like,
oh.
wait a minute. Okay. This actually also really reminds me of, if you guys have ever read the Red Rising series, that Pierce Brown is so good at plot because things happen and it's like you could have seen it coming, but he misdirects you. So like you're going down this route and then he brings back the plot and like everything goes to shit and you're just like, wait, what did I even just
Oh.
read? So it like really reminded me of that because I was like, what's happening in the Cruel Prince? Everyone's acting a fool. Like, I don't even know. It took me a while for me to get into the book. I really just like Taryn. Yeah. Yeah. She's annoying. And also Vivi, you know, is not as sisterly as I would want her to be, but then she's
Yeah.
like half fairy. So can we even expect her to be, you know, what we want her to be?
Should we talk about Taryn and our opinions, and then we can bring in like the Lost Sisters?
Yeah, that's a good segue. Very good. So, what did you think about Taryn?
Okay. So I I think in general I have a hard time like expressing hatred towards anyone, even like fictional characters,
That sounds
because
very true
like
to you. Yes.
the high empath in me is like, but on her side though.
Right,
And
right, right.
so I okay, I understand where she's coming from, because for me, like, I'm a very, like, passive person, not passive aggressive, but I'm just, like, very, like, avoid from conflict, like,
Mhm.
"It's okay, it's my fault, I just don't wanna fight." And so I related to that part from Taryn's perspective, because she's always kind of, like, low key, and Jude's like, "Let's stir up the pot, though." And so I didn't see I predicted the Locke and Taryn thing,
Mhm.
but I didn't expect like where that I didn't know that she was in the know and like all that stuff. But definitely the betrayal and like her letting like Jude get bullied over and over and over again and not giving her any explanation. That's what made me really lose respect for her. That she was like purely selfish and Jude was selfless and like always trying to look out for Taryn. So like I understood how Taryn felt. Like I understand why she was like passive, but that wasn't an excuse for what she did to her sister, in my opinion.
I think that's literally perfect. And it's so interesting to me that they are twins because, you know, we get an inside scoop on Jude in the first book because obviously it's from her POV, right? And we're like seeing that Jude is like this strong woman who like always wants to fight because, you know, she stands up for the little people and like herself. She won't let anybody like F with her sisters and da 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 da. And it's so interesting to me that Taryn is her twin because like my dad's a twin and my dad and his twin are literally opposites. So it's like that's exactly what this dynamic is in some ways.
Wow.
Because Jude is like so in your face and like I will fight until I die kind of thing. And Taryn's like, I will never fight. I don't want to pick up a sword. I would rather like be passive and like, you know, get married and like have kids and be one of the fairies than try and be something that I'm not, you know? Whereas Jude is like, you know, Jude. So I thought that was such an interesting dynamic, I would say, between them because they truly are like yin and yang, like two different, you know, sisters, like, but also part of the same coin. I definitely did not like that Taryn like did not trust her sister at all, like had so long before. I mean, she basically from the beginning of the book is dating Locke, and you're like, okay, wait, what? So I thought that was a little strange because I don't know. That's like your sister, you know? I don't know. So I thought that was weird. And then, of course, you know, the Lost Sisters is from Taryn's point of view. And the fact that you just get that inside scoop on her betraying her sister for that long, it's just like, it went on too long, girl. You need to confess.
Yeah, and the thing is like he didn't like she had enough time to tell Jude before Locke asked her not to tell anyone. Like
Right.
she deliberately chose not to open up to her sister, which is very strange because they're like best friends or whatever, right?
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, aren't you guys super close? Like, I don't. You're the only two humans in fairyland. You know what I mean? Like, that's gotta mean something. Yeah, but also I get what you're saying. Like I see her point of view. She kind of wanted something for herself. But honestly, I would not be okay if my boyfriend was over here sleeping with my sister who looks exactly like me. Yeah, I'd be like, we cannot date. I'm so sorry, sir. So you're a weirdo. Anyway.
I think her flaw was that she was just so desperate to be accepted, to be loved, to be special, to be like seen as something more than moral. And that ultimately is what like is leading to her demise as like a character and leading her demise in her morals. And yeah.
It's so great that you said that because you could actually describe Jude in the same way. Like she was like itching to be like the it girl, you know, to be special, to be like her own thing in fairylands and also fit in at the same time.
Yeah.
It's interesting how they both had that in common because they both wanted that, but they went about getting it in two different ways.
Totally different ways.
I'm like, ooh, goodness. I thought the human romance was really interesting and added to the sister's character. Yeah, Vivi's cool. Vivi's cool. Vivi was cool. And Taryn's such a snake, and I knew it from the beginning.
You called it.
Yes, you did it. As a twin, I felt so bad. Judge got stuck with Taryn.
Honestly, though.
Honestly, yes. Jude did not deserve because Jude really was. She was in that river about to die for her sister. And I'm like, Taryn shouldn't deserve a sister like that. Anyway. So very much a YA fantasy. The writing's very similar to Shadow and Bone being first person, limited POV, so I can see how people might not vibe with it. Yes.
Yeah.
Taryn annoyed me. Yes.
Yeah.
Madonna.
Okay.
Surprised me. I kind of liked him. He's definitely a gray character. I would be interested to see if it came between having the kingdom and having, you know, the life of his girls, like having that choice. I'd be interested to see which way he would go, if that makes sense.
It's really weird because, like earlier on, right, when Jude was getting bullied, and I think it was like I think it was Valerian who
Mhm.
like almost like killed her. Was that the time that she got
He
really
was a
beat up?
psycho.
Was that the time she got really beat up and then she like went home and everyone was like, "What happened to you?"
I think so.
Okay, I think so too, but he was like, "I'm gonna kill them, blah blah blah." And so, yeah, it would be really interesting to see if he would pick his like daughter's well-being, but I think that his thirst for the crown has shown ultimately that he would probably choose
Pick
the
the
kingdom.
ground. It's also interesting because I feel like he was a dad for as long as he needed to be a dad. As in, like, so the girls are young, right? They're like 2 or 3 years old. Obviously, no one's going to take care of them. So I feel like he made the decision to like be the dad then. And then as they got older, as like Jude learns to fight, as Vivi is going and like maybe going to go live, in out of fairyland, whatever, he kind of gets into a mode of like, well, they don't need me to watch them all the time now. They're not toddlers, like they can do their own thing. So now, like, what am I gonna do with my life? And I feel like he was like, oh, take over the kingdom. Like, and I just think that's so interesting from like a parental perspective
Mhm.
because he made that decision. So I really like seeing the difference between Jude and Taryn doing what they need to do to survive in the world. Yes, yes. The two different like ways that they went about it. I was like, y'all really could not be more different. Um, it may seem messed up, but I related to Jude's struggle with Maddox. I had a similar complicated relationship with my dad, and I like how it was portrayed. And see, I feel like this is why we like Maddox, right? Because he did take them from when they were younger and took care of them. He was like, this is my, responsibility now. So, like, he's not completely horrible, we would think.
And so this is the thing that I was kind of like about to, it was like censoring, but I have a very complicated relationship with my dad as well, so I feel you. Um, but I also like how it was played because like he's not like the worst person. Like I know that there's love, but also like he screwed up though.
And I think it's very telling of just kind of I like when characters are like this, right? Because when you have a good character, you're like, oh, they're always going to make the right decision. They're always going to make the good decision, things like that. And I think Jude kind of also falls into this category of they're kind of a good person, but they also make bad decisions sometimes. And
Mhm.
that goes hand in hand with her being like, Cardin, I'm going to screw you over and you're going to be the new king because it serves
Yeah.
my purposes. And like, even though Jude is our main character and we want her to be like the good guy, I think she is a morally great character as well.
Completely. I didn't see that coming personally. I did not expect that at all. Did you?
I was like thinking it, and then I was like, and then I said, no, I'm sure he chooses to be king. That's what I was thinking. I was like, surely he chooses to be king. I didn't know that she was gonna straight up be like, hey, Oak, can you put the crown on his head like we practiced? It's totally pretend. It's not real. Like, so I don't know. I kind of was like, oh my God, I cannot believe this. But now I'm even more scared because I feel like Cardin's about to go on a binger and be crazy in the next book.
Yeah. And we can talk like do we want to talk about like light predictions right now?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think that the enemies is gonna be like it was enemies, but I think it's gonna be like enemies because now like Cardin like has like more of a reason to hate Jude because she betrayed his trust.
Mhm.
And he basically took an oath to serve her. So I just like don't see that going very well, but I can also see more steam. I also predict that Matic might become, I really hope not. Like I hope that, something like resolves, but I kind of predict that he's gonna be like the main antagonist in the next book. And
Okay.
Taryn, I think, might also be like a side antagonist. But I mean, at the end of the novella, she's like, I'm like, need to stop like practicing this in front of the mirror and just tell you, Jude.
I
So,
know. I was like, Taryn, girl, you are doo doo. But anyway, um, yeah. So I think, obviously our girl Jude, she's got control over Carden for the next year and some days. I forget what exactly it is. But I think she's going to have control over him. But I think at every point of that, Carden is going to fight her and do loophole situations, because that's the thing that fairies are best at, right? They're good at finding the loopholes. They're good at getting you to do a deal and you getting the shoot end of the stick, if that makes sense. So I feel like that's definitely going to happen. And I feel like he might even be a little immature and be like, oh, well, this is your problem, you know? So like, you figure it out, that kind of thing. So I think the struggle is going to be real with that one. But also this goes hand in hand with the world building. So we know that there are other kingdoms in the Cruel Prince, not just the High Kingdom where Carden is currently residing, right?
Right.
And now that everyone is pretty much dead in the royal family, except for like Oak, now we have like all these other little kingdoms that could possibly come and take over that like High King status. So I'm kind of just like, okay, I think it's going to be a real crap show. It's going to be really messy. And I'm not even sure what to expect, because at the end of the day, I'm like, will Maddox help them, or will he go to another country or another kingdom and, you know, support them? Like, I don't know. I'm not sure. But those are my light predictions, if you can even call them that.
Those are great predictions. Like, I could definitely see that happening. And it'll be even more Game of Thrones, because now it's like, who's going to be at the High Court?
And I think the more Carden is under Jude's control, like, the more he's going to like her, if that makes sense. Because Carden is messed up, right? He's got a sick and twisted, like, little something going on. And he likes being told what to do. Like, he likes it that Jude is the boss and she, like, puts a knife to his throat, you know? So I think it's just going to increase. But I think the real main theme that we'll see from the series will be in the third book. My prediction for that. The politics is the reason why I gave it a 2 and not a 1. Oh, Sahar, why? Tell me. Funny enough, I wasn't a fan of the politics till I read The Cruel Prince. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to follow in other series. Like Game of Thrones, you got to be taking notes. Nicolee, aka the kindest human ever. Yes, our cherub, our light and love. Oh, I haven't read The Lost Sisters. I'm so sorry. If
you didn't miss much, honestly. It was pretty much reiterating like the information that, like, honestly, there wasn't that much more information that I learned from the 50 pages or whatever that I didn't already know from The Cruel Prince. Like, she didn't really like rationalize anything that she did. She basically just stated the same thing.
Yeah, so it's the exact same story. It's just from Taryn's point of view, and you know, it's goes deeper into the betrayal. So if you are interested in that, I recommend. Larry was just something else. Like, he wasn't crazy. Okay, let's talk about this guy. The way that he straight up was like trying to kill her in the top of the tower or whatever it was. And then we find out later that Carden never even told him to be crazy. Like, that was just Valyrian being, you know, trying to get some vengeance or whatever. I was like, you really have an issue with a woman being in charge, don't you, sir? Like,
that was
you?
Just
that and was him popping up in her house. I was like, you really want Maddox to kill you, huh?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was so chaotic. I didn't like him at all. He was like,
yeah, he was bloodthirsty. Okay, that guy was cuckoo. But you know, Jude really showed him.
Yeah, I know. Honestly,
she killed him too. I was like, what?
I was kind of relieved.
Yeah, I mean, it did give me some anxiety whenever he was around. I was like, the fact that he really came into your room at night or morning, whenever they sleep, like. Anyway, when they fed her fairy fruit, ooh.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about our thoughts there. What did you think?
Okay, this scene stressed me out. I was like, this girl's naked in front of everybody. I'm stressed. But how did you feel?
Yeah, during the scene, I was like, "This is a YA." Like I was like, "How much more like it is?" Like,
I think I tweeted about it or something. I was like, "Guys!" Oh no, I put it in our Discord. Excuse me. I was like, "Jude's taking off her clothes."
I was like, it gave me like total roofie vibes, and I really hated it.
Yeah.
It was so like anxiety inducing, and I was like, shoot, like I don't like stop, make it stop, make it stop.
I didn't know what to expect. I mean, I kind of fell for the Carden thing for a little bit because I was like, oh, Carden's gonna save her, you know? And little did I know, he just made her kiss his feet. So it was really crazy. I was like, oh my God, never eat fairy fruit, guys. Never eat fairy fruit. Yeah, I did like that part
Yeah,
though.
it was good.
Okay, it was cuckoo bananas, but I loved it.
Unexpected.
Yeah, it definitely was. Valeria was so chaotic for no reason. I felt bad for Jude when Dane punished her for defending herself. That did suck.
Okay, Dane. Let's talk
Yeah.
about Dane.
Also an interesting dude. I mean, I don't know. I feel like as a human, if I lived in this world, I just would make a pact with myself and like I'd do the blood thing and be like, look, you're gonna remember this scar and never trust a fairy, you know? Because no matter what, they're not there for you. They want to control
Yeah,
humans.
yeah, yeah. He was so morally gray. Like on the
Hmm.
one hand, he wasn't like the other brother who was literally like beating and like whipping or getting his like servant to like whip Carden,
Hmm.
but he was still horrible, and it was definitely kept more under wraps, and I felt like Jude like saw that side of it because he wasn't understanding at all. Like he only saw her like as an asset. He didn't have any kind of empathy or humanity haha
Hmm.
for her. And and I don't know, I was really relieved when he died, honestly, because I was like, shoot, like Jude is gonna have to do everything he wants for the rest of like his life. Like
I
that,
definitely felt the same.
yeah.
I was like, okay, but now she can have the protection of his little deal or whatever, which I really liked.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I kind of think it's interesting that Carden is the way he is. Like he's so outwardly horrible, right? And I feel like low key, all the fairies are like that. Like at least in the royal family, maybe they just don't show it. You know, like I feel like they're all equally horrible, but I feel like Carden is the truest one, if that makes sense. I don't
He
know.
wears his heart on his sleeve,
Yeah, he
like
just is like, look, I don't freaking like you. I'm not gonna play games. And I kind of appreciated that from him in a strange way. So I don't know. Dane, I don't know. I didn't trust him from the beginning. I was like, this man is or fairy's gonna be doing something crazy. I don't even know.
yeah.
But yes, oh my god, can we talk about Dane? Yes, Valerian was this emoji in an emoji. That and maybe like a knife.
Yep.
The fairy world has influenced you to also become morally gray. I was thinking that as well.
Yes.
That ending, I screamed out in joy. I kind of expected it, but not really. I didn't think it would go in that direction, but I had a feeling. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. I like these predictions. I'm excited to see your reviews. Yes, I'm gonna have to write a nice one for the end of the month. I hope the world expands and we see more of the world in different kingdoms. I think that's exactly what we're going to kind of get into a little bit. I don't know. The books are so short. I feel like Holly
Yeah.
Black's main goal isn't to like expand it, but I think we will see a little bit of that in the coming books. Carden's a sub, pass it on. Ah! Okay. I mean, you said it. I was thinking it. I said what I said. Yes. I love how she had panic attacks and stuff. It made her feel more relatable, real enough for me to like her. Yes. Okay, yeah, because the fairies can basically tell you to do something and you do it, right? So the only thing protecting her really for all her life is Matic. And I think in some ways that might have been why Vivi straight up didn't kill him from a young age, you know? Because she's like, well, if we don't have Matic, we don't have anything. So very interesting.
Yeah.
Fairy sleep schedule is ideal. I know. I did like that. I like the little dates under the stars. That was cool.
Yeah, I like that too.
I was like, okay, you guys thought of something there. Okay. Yes, love their schedule. I'm sorry, but I pictured Dane as Prince Charming from Shrek.
I can see it though.
Oh my god, no. Honestly, I preferred the other brother because I knew what I was getting with him. I didn't like wishy-washy characters. Yeah. And that's the thing. Dane was like, he was a little snake, okay? He really made you think he was going to be on your side and then, twisted it for his own advantage. Dane was charming and toxic people who hide behind their charm in a good guy persona.
Yeah.
Yes. Those guys are the worst. They are. They really are. Um, the characters were all very unique and interesting, and a lot of YA fantasy, they all feel the same or irrelevant, but in The Cruel Prince, they all had a purpose.
I would agree with that.
I agree with this. I agree with this. And I like how Holly Black really thinks about everything, and puts everything in there for a reason. And I think that goes hand in hand with kind of the political intrigue that was going on the whole book. Like, you really have to pay attention and know what's going on to know what's going on, if that makes sense. So I like her writing style. I'm
Me
really into
too.
it.
I do too.
I think it's interesting that Dane and Locke are similar and Belkin and Valerian are similar.
Haven't even thought about that.
Me either. Me being like, Catherine is the OG fantasy reader. Okay. Yes, Catherine, can you elaborate on more of what you think like this? But I do see the Dane and Locke thing very, very clearly, right? Because Locke, the whole time, it's so great. He's got a fox face, like he's a fox. So you're obviously not supposed to trust him. But here we are, really falling for the Locke thing. And I think it's so kind of tragic that Jude ended up falling in love with him, or love. I don't even know if it was love, but like she ended up liking him, and this is like her first kind of like boyfriend, and he ends up getting with her sister. I'm like, that's not fun.
And like the worst part is that, after he's already like set to marry Taryn, he's like, I like you too, like maybe I could have you both. And she's like, what?
I'm like, what kind of weirdo are you? Okay. It's because, I don't know, he just sees them as things. I think it's a very like fairy way to see things. And, he said it. He likes a puzzle. He likes a game. He's a Gemini, obviously. So
I think that part of the reason why we all kind of grew to like Locke initially was because he was the only person, like not Taryn, not Carden, who was actually standing up for Jude like multiple times, and she was like, he was actually like consciously like looking out for her. Like he was the only reason why she didn't get farther with like the food, with the fairy food. Like he's the one who saved her. And I think for her, that's really what transitioned that into like possibly more, because like Taryn didn't even do anything. Like she was useless.
Yeah. No, and I do think that's interesting because all the fairies have basically treated them with contempt, Even their stepmom, Oriana, has not been nice, outwardly nice, I guess, to them. So yeah, I think more of it was, as you said, because he was being nice to her rather than like her actually liking him. So yes, makes sense. It really does. What did you guys think of Jude trying to save the human girl? I think her name was Sophie. I still wonder if that was really her at the end.
That was really sad. I thought that part was sad. It was very rushed. I kind of knew that something was going to go wrong. She just seemed so off. And I don't really understand why I guess she thought she was dreaming. And so she tried to wake herself up by plunging into the sea. But I just thought that was really sad, honestly. And yeah, it was kind of weird that she came back. Like, I don't know if she's going to be a recurring character or something like that. But that part was a little bit weird for me.
Yeah, I think it was interesting to me because, Jude is such a hard ass, right? And she has like a mission. And when she has her mission, she's on that mission, right? So during the thing that she was doing at the time, she sees this human girl and she sees how bad it is. And she's seen other humans act like this. But she chooses this one to kind of like save. And I just don't know if it was like really aligned with her as a character, because I feel like Jude as a character would have been like, okay, I'm taking note of all these humans, and if I really want to save them, I need to come up with a plan and do it. But then maybe not. I don't know. Maybe her anger just took over and she was like, F it, I'm going to save this girl because I'm hard-headed and I'm Jude and I can do it. I have the opportunity. So I don't know. This part was really, it was like you said, it was sad. And I think she she jumped into that water to kill herself. Like,
Oh.
I think she didn't want to live how she was living, you know?
Mhm.
And in the end, I do think that that was her. I think that the Kelpie, I think that they saved her, and I think she is now part of that kingdom. I think she must come back too, because why else mention her?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, very similar characteristics. Like Belkin and Valerian are outwardly cruel. Okay,
Yeah.
yes. Okay, so yes, interestingly enough, that Cardan surrounds himself with people that remind him of his brothers. You know,
Yeah.
Locke and Dame both made Jude feel special and like she means something, but they both end up just looking out for themselves. Yes.
True.
It is. It's interesting. And, you know, I haven't read the prequel with Cardan and like how he became, you know, himself. I haven't read that one yet. I know that that came out this past year, but I'm sure part of that is trauma and, you know, something he's trying to work with and something that he's familiar with, sadly enough.
Yeah.
So that's probably why he surrounds himself with people like that. But it's also interesting to me how Locke is pretty much the only person that can stand up to him, and besides Jude, I guess, but like and kind of get away with it.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, also like how do we feel about Cardan being in love with Nicatia?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see that, but I guess it's cuz I wasn't expecting it until like it was revealed.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't get that vibe from them. Like that heartbroken like
Yeah, like did
vibe
he
between
really
them.
care? You know, and I guess that might go back to the fact that they don't love in the same way as humans do.
But
So,
he does say that he loved her when
mhm.
Jude asks him. So I guess he did love her in some way. Can we just talk
I
about
like,
how screwed up that was? That Locke literally like knew that and like swooped her and then dumped her. Like
and the
he's
thing is, like, I feel like that was almost like foreshadowing because I feel like it's mentioned early on that Locke kind of like took her away from Cardan, right?
mhm.
And I'm like, I feel like that's almost foreshadowing of him kind of like taking Taryn away from Jude. Like, I don't know if we can stretch it that far, but I
No,
was
I
like,
get it.
oh, he likes to take things that he doesn't even really care about. Ugh, he's such a grimy character. Him and then the whole scene of like being at his palace and like him and Jude falling asleep together, whatever. That whole scene, I was like, Locke, he's just lonely, you know? Just a lonely dude. I liked Oriana. I liked her in the end.
Yeah, same. I didn't like her in the beginning. I was like, she's so judgy. Like, who is she to be
Right,
so like cold and callous towards these two like girls who've never done anything to her? And
right.
then when the reveal came, I was like, oh, it
Okay, that
was
makes
never
sense.
about them. Yeah.
Right. And I find that a lot of characters, especially since I read A Court of Silver Flames, like characters like that you don't really understand and you kind of hate. I'm finding that I like, you know, reading about them and being like, "Oh, okay, this is why they're a dick," or like whatever, you know. So I liked Oriana. I think, you know, I think she did what she did. And she was probably just scared, honestly.
Yeah.
So trying to look out for her friend and her son. Really expected her to be more analytical. I felt a bit out of character, but I understood her. Yeah, I think the more I think about it in that moment when she saves Sophie, I think it was more of because her temper or, you know, whatever fire is inside of her, I think that kind of like took over and she couldn't really, you know, differentiate between is this a good decision or am I just like doing it to do it? Cardan and Nicatia makes more sense if you read how the King of Elfland. That's what I thought. I was like, oh, I'll have to get to that eventually.
Question.
What's up?
Should we put that book as like an optional like bonus book at in June for the third book because it's
Yeah,
the prequel? That way
why
we can
not?
just talk about everything.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down.
I'm
I like
down.
Holly Black. I'm about to read her whole backlist because I'm like, I really like this writing, so I'm gonna continue on. But yeah, I'm down. If you guys in the chat also want to read that book for June, How the King of Elfame Came to Hate Fairy Tales. I made that up. Don't know if that's what it is.
We're gonna go with that for now.
But you guys get what I'm saying. If you guys want to do that, let us know. The title is a mouthful, yes. Nicatia. The roach, ghost, and the other fairy spies were interesting to me. Okay, I loved this part. And it might just be because I'm a Six of Crows stan, but any kind of like thief, heist, like anything that gets like a nickname. And this is also similar to kind of Red Rising too, now that I'm thinking about it, now that I mentioned it before. But everybody getting a nickname, like a code name, I'm like, yes, let's get into it. Like, let's go kill some people.
Yeah.
Or steal something, whatever. What did we think of her name at the end?
What was it again?
The Queen, right? Wasn't it? The Queen?
But why did I forget this so? I'm sorry.
I think it was the Queen or something like that. I was just kind of like, because the whole time I was thinking, like, what is her name? You know what I mean? Like, what could it possibly be? And the fact that they named her that because they saw, I think this is why, this is my opinion, because they saw the relationship between, like, you know, her and Cardin, and also the fact that she literally controls the game, like she's the queen. I'm like, y'all aren't sly, okay? Making out in that back room, y'all thought you were alone. But yeah, it was very interesting.
I liked that scene.
Me too. I'm okay. We didn't get a lot of steam, but that doesn't mean I didn't want it. Okay, I would have been very okay with more steam, but it's fine. I had a feeling about Locke early on. He seemed to want the chaos, and I thought that would play out somehow. Yeah, and in that kind of way, he was similar to Valerian, I think, because Valerian was like, I'm going to be chaotic and like stir the pot and do this in the name of Cardin, but like, you know, Cardin never asked you to do that, bro. He never wanted you to go into her room. Yes, those characters were the best part of the book for me. Yes. I love the crows.
Yes.
I love the crows.
Have you seen the new season?
Oh yeah, I binged it.
Oh my god. Okay. I have like 4 more and I am there. I think Jesper, Kaz, and Inej, like they were casted like chef's kiss.
Yes. And I was recently, actually, not to go far from the Cruel Prince, guys, but I was talking about Shadow and Bone on a live show with Jayla, who was in the chat earlier, and a couple other booktubers, and we were kind of talking about how with the Six of Crows guys, a lot of the characters didn't look like how we thought they were going to look, right? But because of their acting ability, they bring that character to life. Like, for example, Jesper, when you think of Jesper in the books, you're thinking of like a dark-skinned, you know, tall, kind of like, you know, like seducting like guy, you know, and then you get, you know, who we have is Jesper, and I think his personality really just makes him the perfect fit. I feel like the only character that actually looks how I thought they were gonna look is Inej, but yeah. Anyway, I was like, not to go on a tangent on the Nina and Matthias things. Was she not Liar or something? Is this the Queen? It was the Queen. Yes, that was her name. I was like, I don't know what. Yeah, we all forgot because we all already were thinking it. We were all already like, oh yeah, the Queen.
Yeah.
Duh, she's obviously in charge. They say it at the end of the last chapter before the epilogue. Her the liar. Yes, I think Jude said, I think she said that. I think she said, what are they going to name me? Like the liar or something. And then they're like, no, you're a queen, girl. We need to talk about the series. Yeah, Shadow and Bone. Talk about it all day, every day. Catherine, for sure. Like, if y'all want to talk Shadow and Bone, Catherine knows her stuff.
Yes.
Oh my god, I watched the first episode yesterday and I'm obsessed. It's literally so good. But we're gonna keep it on the Cruel Prince, you know, because that's what we're here for. So I'm gonna look at my notes really quick and see if there's anything else we want to talk about. I'm literally like, we talked about everything. I think
I know. I feel like.
What do you guys? Yeah, I want to rant about the series later. Yes, watch it in 24 hours. It's very bingeable. Okay, it's very bingeable. Yeah. Wow. I think we really got into it.
I know. We knocked out all of our like bullet points that
yeah,
we wanted
I was
to
like,
talk
wow, we did
about.
that naturally. We didn't even have to look at our bullet points. Like, who are we? Let's see. Shadow and Bone is on my TBR. Sounds like I should read it soon. You know, I wasn't as impressed with Shadow and Bone, but the TV show is great. So, what are your thoughts on her plan about Oak?
Mm,
That is something we haven't talked about. Okay. So the Oak reveal. The Oak reveal. It went really deep. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, because obviously Locke's mom had something to do with it, and the whole like Oak is the son of the king. Like, what's going on? You know?
yeah.
Um, I when she said the thing about Oak living in the human world, I really did not think that it was gonna work. I don't think that it's gonna work. I don't know. For some reason, I'm not sure if that's gonna work, but I guess we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah. I didn't see that part, that reveal at all. And I
Mhm.
think that's part of like why I really liked The Cruel Prince and gave it a 5 stars, because I feel like I'm not easily like super shocked, but there were a lot of things that really kind of caught me off guard that aren't like the conventional like YA fantasy story. Like it
Yes.
wasn't predictable at all, which I really liked. And I don't know, I don't really see Oak. Like I don't know if I see Oak becoming the king. Like
Right.
I don't know.
That's kind of how I feel. I'm like, I don't know. I'm a little concerned because he's so young and I just don't want him to get murdered. And you know, if him and Vivi disappear, Maddox's going to know that they're
Yeah.
together, you know, and like Maddox found them once.
Yeah.
He'll find them again.
Where are they gonna go? Yeah.
Right. And then I'm like, it's also so heavy for Vivi to have to bring Oak to the human world and to have not like lived there for so long. I mean, I know she goes back and forth, but she doesn't live there. And then she's also going to be living with her girlfriend. And I'm
Who
just
doesn't
like,
know anything?
yeah, I'm like, oh, this is a lot. And then I'm also thinking, like, if Oak grows up in the human world, like, how is he going to know how to be a fairy? You know, because he'll basically be going through the same thing that Jude and Taryn are going through right now, which is like they don't want to go back to the human world because they don't know how to be human. And so
Yeah.
I'm like, it's interesting that that kind of like parallel is happening right now because Jude really thinks that's going to work. And I'm like, Jude, my girl, uh, no.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's definitely going to be interesting to see how that unfolds.
Definitely.
But
Yeah.
I truly don't know. I truly don't know. Um, yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, Vivi might be super, you know, good at hiding them, but I'm not sure if she can sustain that. But we'll see.
Yeah. We'll see.
We'll see. I'm excited. I'm excited for the next book. I cannot lie. And I think they're only going to get better,
That's what I'm
honestly.
hoping for. That's honestly my favorite kind of trilogy, is like the one where it just keeps building and then the last book is just like, wow, you know?
Crazy. Yeah, exactly. Like, and I really truly think that that's what's happening here. Like, I know that everybody was kind of like not impressed with the Cruel Prince, but I truly think that Holly Black is like, okay, I'm gonna give you a little bit, you know, get you interested, like set down the groundwork, and then I'm gonna give you a little bit more. We're gonna get a little more steam, and then the third one, I really truly think that we're all gonna have our minds blown.
That's what I'm hoping for. Yeah.
I think it's gonna be the best one. Um, but yeah, okay. Well, I think that's about everything that we wanted to talk about, right? Any last minute comments or remarks?
I'm proud of us. I think we did good.
We did such a I mean, like, who are we discussing things? Like,
I know.
discussing it has made me want to change my rating. I'm glad that you said that because there's often times when I will not like a book and talking about it with people who did like it or even other people that didn't like it, it makes me change my rating a little bit because I'm like, okay, maybe I am me personally, not you, but maybe I am being a little cuckoo bananas, you know? Maybe I should because I'm really hard on fantasies sometimes, but for some reason this one really did it for me.
Me too. I'm glad we're on the
Um
same page.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And maybe it's because it was so simple, you know, and easy to digest. That might be it. So
Yeah.
glad we did this live show. I'm so
Aw.
glad you guys came. Thank you so much. Yeah, so we're gonna be having our next live show. It'll be the same kind of format. It'll be the last Sunday in May, which is the 30th. Okay, I pulled that one out of my butt, I think. But yeah, so it's gonna be May 30th. We'll talk about the Wicked King. And I'm thinking that we might have maybe another person on to discuss and kind of throw thoughts around. I would love to have someone who maybe hates it and, have us who like it.
Yeah.
So we can kind of see what they think. But yeah, so our next show, it'll be around the same time, 7 p.m. PST. Um, and yeah, guys, if you haven't joined the Discord, please feel free to come into the Discord so that we can discuss. And we will pretty much see you guys in May,
Yeah, see you guys in a month.
right? But yeah, so thanks for everybody in the chat, and we will see you guys later.